Yeah, yo. Woke up in the morning and to God be the glory. Thankful for another day to tell my story. Put my opinions in the universe and let them orbit. I'm from the dirty south with a dirty mouth, might need orbit. Miss things on me like a nigga Norbit. Had to refuse them cause my bitch no Resfusion, she gorgeous. As I dap my sons up and kiss my daughter forehead. Tell them we gon' get this money till my pockets morbid. Remember living in apartments, now we playing mortgage. You ain't gotta like a nigga regardless, baby, I'm blessed. And I keep that blick with me, we like grits and eggs. As you sip your coffee, flick your cigarette and let a nigga vent. Yeah.
We back. We back. Grits and Eggs podcast. Very exclusive Patreon special episode.
Ooh.
Yeah. A little special Patreon. I'm Deontay Kyle, but who's behind the camera?
The coolest co-host in the world, Big Ice Cup Cat.
We ain't got no announcements today.
None.
I introduce special guest to you guys, my brother Justin Ellis Brooks.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm blessed to be here.
Let's clap it up. Let's clap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. They're like, who the hell is this brother?
Well,
Please stick around.
Yeah, they're gonna get to know you,
Absolutely.
right?
You know, that's what this is for.
I think we've been. It's been months, right? We've just
Been months.
Yeah, we've been going back and forth talking for months.
Behind the scene. What folks say, I hate this. Moving in silence. I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
Truly.
But yeah, and now
Moving
we're
in
here.
silence.
Now
Yes,
we're here.
Now we're here.
Before we get started,
Yes,
let's just give the people a little background about you,
Yes,
who
sir.
you are, where you from,
Yes, sir.
and why we here today.
Absolutely. Why we here today? It's crazy. I couldn't even still. I'm speechless still, to be honest with you. But again, my name is Justin Michael Ellis Brooks. I'm born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm looking at you. Look at the camera.
It don't matter, man.
Okay.
We just be having a conversation.
I'm gonna have a conversation.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. Went to high school there. Graduated myself after high school. Enlisted in the United States military. You feel me? Served 7 years, 1 month active duty service as an unmanned aircraft systems operator, or UAS operator, or UAV operator. It's a whole different bunch of ways you can say it. Basically, I was a drone operator. I flew drones, you feel me, during the Obama administration. Mind you.
Yeah.
You know, so I in 2 combat tours, one in Afghanistan 2015, one in Iraq 2017. And I mean, we don't get into a lot more of it, but that's just a little bit about my background.
Yeah, and then
Yes,
you doing a lot of community initiatives
Yes,
now.
sir. Yes,
so
sir.
let's just go ahead and get it started with
Dive
that.
straight into it.
Yeah. Because I'm the thing that really appealed is like, you know, the things we talk about here is for the community, right?
Yes,
but it's one thing to be a talker, and it's another thing to actually be boots on the ground and be active. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I think I'm learning a lot from you as far as, you know, how to organize and how to get active in the community. But
Yes, sir.
let's just give a little background about what you got going on currently and how
Yes,
you
sir.
got into it.
Yes, sir. So beginning of 2025, I actually it's probably started long before then, but I think as far as any definitive action or concept of what I'm doing now, I'm a type of person where I look around at a situation, I look around at the resources available, and then I just make do with what I have. And so for those who don't know, I'm currently attending college out in California to pursue my undergraduate in accounting, and then eventually I want to get my Juris Doctor. And while pursuing my undergraduate right now, I'm utilizing my post 9/11 GI Bill, you know, at that veterans kit to pay tuition and everything. And part of what a lot of people don't know is there's a lot of economic backside to it that they don't tell you up front, right? Everyone knows your tuition is paid for, but they don't know you get a monthly stipend.
Yeah.
And depending on where you go to school in the United States can depend on how big that stipend is. And because I'm blessed enough to live where I live in Los Angeles, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's open source, and I ain't gonna say it on camera even though it's open source, but it's a lot.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
It's a lot to where like I basically I haven't had to. I'll be 31 in October. I haven't had to worry about a bill since I was 18. You feel me? I forgot what it feels like to struggle, and I'll admit that. But
Yeah.
to my point, I realized, you know, with just the recent election and then a lot of personal, I think, growth and just like, for instance, I was at a Black student conference in I think late 2024, and there was like a lot of breakout rooms they had, and it was centered around. This one was with our African elders, right? And
Yeah.
they had a lot of these cards that had these African words on them, and they had the English translation, and then a bit more about what the word meant. And so, as you enter the room, each person grabs a card, set in this huge circle. You would read the word, read what it said, and then you basically just read what's on the thing. And so I'm listening to people, you know what I'm saying, read it and then say what it means to them. And as I'm going around, all I'm thinking about is the current state of our world, man, our economy, the political economy, social issues. I'm thinking about my parents. I'm just thinking about the black experience in total.
Right.
And I feel myself just getting angry as I'm sitting there in silence. But it's an anger I feel like I haven't really felt before, bro. By the time it got back around to me, I was in tears.
Yeah.
I was so angry. And I'd never been moved to tears from anger. And so I knew it was something that was like very, it was very important to me. And I remember when I finally got the mic, one of the first things I did was like, what I noticed is like half the group, they wouldn't even try to attempt the African name.
Yeah.
And I took that as just deeply disrespectful, right? I'm like, here we are speaking in our oppressor's tongue with perfect, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, the King's English.
You know
honestly.
what I'm saying? And the first thing I said was, look, those guys, and I said it with love. I said, look, don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
I say, we understand the language we speak now is not ours. This is our oppressor's language. I understand that a lot of us have never seen these words. I've never seen the words before myself. But I said I owe it to my ancestors and to my elders to try.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then just from there, I remember just pouring my heart out and being so angry. And I wasn't really angry at, and I'm getting emotional talking about it right now.
Yeah.
I wasn't angry so much at the elders there, but I found myself like damn near commanding like an answer from them. Like, what the fuck are we doing as a collective? Like, here we are. We see the history of how things have gone. Right? We talk about a lot of great leaders we've lost. We talk about the highs, the lows, but what the fuck are we doing right now?
Yeah.
I'm tired. And I don't want to be passive, bro. I'm not a passive person.
Yeah.
So,
Nah, you gotta like. I think the thing is, before you taught me military,
yes, sir.
I already just knew like you just have a serious demeanor. So, but I think oftentimes the people with the more serious demeanors project that towards business and not towards community.
Yes, sir.
They try to be sharks. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But that's one of the things I appreciate about you is like, and then even with the book you reading, it's like you understanding what your positioning is. Like,
yes, sir.
Who knows how to organize better than somebody that's been in the military? That's like something you got to completely shed yourself.
It's something they teach you, and they teach you organization day one.
Day one.
It's instilled in
chain of command.
You feel me?
All
Chain of
that.
command. Just even to how just the concept of formation. If you took like 30 random people who've never been in the military, told them to stand in a perfect square right now, brother, you'd be surprised how something so simple, like standing in a square, a group of adults would versus you get 30 service members or 30 veterans, they go get in formation 2 seconds. Right?
Just
so,
like they know their position, you know what I'm saying?
It's understanding a system, right? And like you said, understanding the separate parts and how each part is supposed to function and make sure you do your job.
And from that, do you feel like when you express that anger towards just that group in general?
Yes, sir.
Do you feel like you got the answers you were looking for, or do you feel like you left like I got to go find the answer myself?
No, I had a lot of the elders approach me after the breakout session, and none of them were, you know what I'm saying? They say, hey.
Yeah, the anger is good, bro.
You're right where you need to be.
Yeah. Because if you're not angry.
Exactly.
Well, okay, so when the Trayvon situation happened,
yes, sir.
So I'm already kind of like, I'm not in an angry space, right? I'm in I would say around 23, 24, I was more of an emotional space. I had felt like I had lost so much of myself to like trying to be something I wasn't, right? Like whether that be the streets or whether that just be being lazy, not really applying like my intelligence, not speaking, you know what I mean? And I watched a few documentaries, the move, like the fire, When the Fire Burns, about the Move group in Philadelphia, and then there was this, it was this Black Panther movie where it was just about, really it was surrounding the Panthers, but it was surrounding, just the civil rights movement, 60s and 70s, and it was Dr. King was talking about the nonviolent movement and his philosophy behind it. And he was just saying, he said something like, It would be better to have scars on my skin than scars on my soul, my nigga. When I tell you, like, the first time I heard that, it broke me down. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't really understand it. You know, I looked at it like that's some punk shit, or, you know, but I understood the movement was more so about him showcasing their brutality. Like he made a martyr out of himself to showcase the brutality of America. But I think around that same time Trayvon happened, and that's where the anger came from, because it was like, bro, this is a kid, dog. And then, of course, perpetually Alton Sterling and Tamir Rice,
Mike Brown. Talk about where I'm from in St. Louis. Mind you, I joined the military. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, you good.
I joined the military, what was that, July 2013. Mike Brown happens next year, 2014. I remember going home on a holiday block leave during the holidays and going to visit that memorial site, man.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing high school friends at the time, because I just graduated 2013, out there protesting in them streets, like you said, getting arrested, getting maced, you know what I'm saying? The whole, not like saying, just feeling that same anger. And like,
yeah, that anger is what started. The anger brought me here, and I temper it now, but I definitely I flare up during the podcast a lot because
it's refining.
Yeah,
I think it's. I wouldn't say it's tempered. It's refined.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because the other side is crashing out.
Well, and that don't help nobody.
And it helps them.
Yeah,
right. Because because from the other side it's another example of proving them right about us, about who they believe us to be.
Well, too, but they also have full range to crash out with impunity. Yeah. And they put a badge in front of it. And I always was interested in I've always been interested in the dynamics that the military sees us as civilians in. Like when things like this happening, you see how the cops behave. But in the military, y'all are a lot more professional. You know what I mean? Y'all are trained. You know what I mean? The whole thing is about, engaging in war. So that's the basis of the military is a war machine, right? So how do you feel? How do those things feel from a perspective of what's going on back in the States, but you also are overseas or deployed somewhere and still in fighting for America as a black man, but also seeing America brutalize black people?
That's a good question. I think a lot of that is it's person to person. So for me, I think it comes back to knowing who you are, knowing why you serve, knowing why you signed up. For me, it's validation. And
hold on.
Sorry.
No, you good. Go ahead, bro.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
No, just were you saying it was case by case?
Yes. Knowing why you started. I think a lot of people had that conflict because they don't join. I ain't gonna say for good reasons, but for reasons they can live with or they can stomach. For me, it was validation, and it took me some years to figure it out. But I'm proud to say I was a 2.517 student in high school. You feel me? Big GPA, CD average. You feel me? Doing big things.
Hey, dog.
Hey, I never failed a class, but again, being from one of the many major cities across the United States, to rope some historical context into it. Being St. Louis, you want to talk about the DSEG program, right? Product of that. And so I lived in the hood, but I went to a good academic school, district, right? From K through 12. And by the time I graduated, man, I wanted nothing to do with academia ever again in my life. Never failed a class, like I said, but goddamn, it's a C&D average, you feel me? And it was like, I only wanted to get to my 10-year high school reunion, bro, and go and feel like I had a story worth telling to my classmates.
Right.
I didn't want folks to look at me like I was lazy, like I was a failure, like I didn't do anything. Bro, I didn't give a fuck about college, benefits, health insurance, none of that.
Correct.
None of that. All I knew, because I had applied to colleges and stuff, because the school I went to, they make you apply for a couple colleges your junior year. Like, it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got 2.5, I'm CD average. I'm not really believing that I'm finna go to college. And I even got accepted to some schools. I'm like, I'm gonna pay for this. And I didn't join to pay, because like I said, I didn't want to go anyway.
Right.
I was doing what I was told to do. You feel me? As far as signing up for school. So for me, we talk about conflict and talk about duality and service as a black man. For me, bro, I served for validation, but then once I grew up, while I was in the service, I realized the only thing that matters is how I look at myself, and if I'm satisfied with the life I'm living and the choices I'm making, and if not, then change it. So to that point, I only did one contract. I didn't sign again.
Right.
Because I knew this wasn't me. I knew this wasn't me long term, spiritually, mentally, ethically, morally. It wasn't me, especially the job that I was doing. Exactly. Because for me,
that's death from above.
For me,
you know what I'm saying?
You know what's funny? That's actually one of our slogans from our unit.
Well, yeah.
From
You feel
above.
me? Death from above.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
High above the best. Shouts. I was finna shout the unit out. I don't know if I'm gonna do that. Hey.
Shout out to the unit.
Hey, you know what? Hey, but shouts out to all my. I'm gonna send this to my boys. Hey, shouts out to all my boys I serve with in both of them deserts. You feel me? I love y'all.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
we ain't gonna get no governments out, but I knew it wasn't me.
Yeah,
I knew I didn't have my
And then you in, so you contracted in. It's like, what is it? Say no or get a dishonorable discharge or whatever, crash out.
As far as when you in,
Yeah.
So as like I'll say this, as far as like my specific job, right? So with being a drone operator, at least at that time in the Army, we had a few different systems, right? So when you're going through the schoolhouse to learn the job after boot camp, it was a long process. I was telling Kat off camera, my job training was 9.5 months long after boot camp. So like my first year alone in the military was just training. But towards like at like the midway point,
it ties back to that question I asked about how y'all feel about the police in the military. But go ahead, keep going.
I'm about to say I saw
Yeah.
And so about like halfway through that 9.5 month journey, they assign you your aircraft. They do the same thing in manned aviation, right? You figure out because Army has a lot of different types of helicopters. They got helicopters strictly for cargo. They got helicopters for combat. They got, you know what I'm saying? Same thing on the man side. So the aircraft system that I got chosen for was basically the big boy. You feel me? It can carry more fuel, fly higher, fly for way longer, and it can carry missiles, you feel me, to top it off. So I'm sorry, what was the question? There's a point.
Yeah. No. We was just talking about, like your duality of
duality.
The duality of being.
In that, well, for me, it was easy because the job I did, I was upfront with like having to make a lot of those moral things. Like you want to talk about, some people talk about playing God. You can talk about the cops playing God. You talk about people ever having the experience of knowing what it feels like to play God. Like,
Word,
brother.
Yeah.
A crazy story. The beginning of training. In Arizona after boot camp. Again, I'm 19 years old, fresh out of high school, 2.5 GPA. Now I'm in charge of flying an $8 to $12 million aircraft for a living.
Sheesh.
Right? You know what they had us doing down there, bro? Part of our training down there in the beginning, we would work with Customs and Border Patrol, and we would scan that mountain region looking for migrants crossing the border.
Jeez.
I just graduated high school 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Living in the hood. Now I'm at the forefront of immigration policy.
Yeah. Well, and then also too is, I tell people all the time, like, these people are evil geniuses, right? You don't even have the
wherewithal.
You don't have the wherewithal, the bandwidth, or just even the understanding of like
what you're doing, and
even what the impact
training,
is,
like
right?
You're still actively helping another federal agency look for migrants crossing the border.
Correct.
Looking for people trying to make a better life for themselves.
Yeah. And you also like are underdeveloped even in your morals.
You are. I mean, again, we talk about, just the whole frontal cortex, age 25. Again, I'm 19.
Yeah. And then you also are like doing something with yourself. The thing is too is like you get a uniform, you get training, you get respect.
Yes, sir.
You're well accommodated wherever you go. Mm-hmm. So it's the juxtaposition of being in the hood. Also too, knowing you don't want anything to do with academics. So like, damn, I done landed in the right spot. Like also too, the way the military talks, I can only imagine they make you feel like the most important motherfucker in the world. Oh, wow. You feel me?
They love that.
Yeah, but I can imagine.
Yeah.
Go watch Avatar. You know what I'm saying, and look at the pep talk they give. Now I don't know if that's close to the reality of the situation, but if it's me, you didn't talk me up. I'm gassed. Like, yeah, I'm fuck these migrants. Like, that's where I would be at with it.
And well, for me, it wasn't with the migrants, but it's funny.
Fuck these migrants is crazy. Fuck these migrants.
Nah, you know what I'm saying? Look, bro. Look, dog.
Not with the migrants.
If the military would have called me at 18, 19, my nigga, I would have been the most patriotic nigga you ever seen in your life.
Hold on. We see the joke on social media all the time about like, and I hate it. I'm gonna only use this term once about the YNs. Being so combat go and like gung ho and stuff, like, and I was never like in the streets growing up. My mama kept belt the ass, you feel me? But in both of my deployments, even as a drone operator, like I remember it was, I think Iraq, some random month in the deployment. we getting like notification vaguely of like some potentially finna go down in Syria. So they're like, yo, y'all need to be ready to spin the birds up. I'm like, oh, nigga, say that. Like you said, that same adrenaline. I said, oh, nigga, who we dropping missiles on tonight?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because you young, dog. And,
Yeah, you ready to ride.
And they making you feel, you've already been made to feel like it's you're extremely more successful than your peers at that point, right? Yeah. You have a role, you have a job to do.
Responsibility.
You have a responsibility.
Yeah.
I mean,
quantifiable responsibility.
It's quantifiable, but it's also like I would even tell you when I'm in truck driver school. I'm in truck driver school for 6 weeks. But when they break down the role of a truck driver in America,
I also have my CDL. So yeah,
yes, but they make you feel like, yo, this job is important, bro. Nothing, and as it is important, it once you out there on that road for like 8 months, you like, yo, fuck
this shit.
Fuck this. But I don't give a fuck if these niggas get their shit or not. You know what I'm saying? Because
you know what's crazy?
I want to see my family. You know what I'm saying?
I began to feel the same way about that job. That's when I knew it was time to go. I was like you said, I think trucking is trucking is another one of those careers where it's like you can't afford to not give a fuck.
You can't.
And for me, I felt myself not giving a fuck as a drone operator.
God damn.
brother.
God damn. Drop a bomb on them, Flex. Drop a bomb, Flex.
Hey, no, for real. Listen. I'm gonna give y'all listen, like, because I was telling
oh, niggas with Iraq. Niggas with Iraq right now.
Young Chop on the
shit. Yeah, for sure. And like the crazy thing is too is like one thing that I used to watch a lot of those podcasts.
Yes, sir.
Where they talk to like ex-military people, and like, but these are the dudes that like
they're archetype. It's an archetype.
They love it.
It's an archetype.
You know, the one dude with the locks?
Jocko. I need to talk about the Jocko type.
You know the one black dude with the locks? And he talk about like
a sniper.
He being in firefights and shit.
Yeah. If I saw a picture, I probably would.
Yeah, I mean,
but
he remember.
He's like, I honestly, I don't consume much military content.
I can imagine, right? Yeah. But because I don't watch truck driver content, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to hear about that shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But and not to make, and it's not comparable, but like on a mental stuff, like, yeah. But the dude was talking about this gun. And he was like, yeah, the gun's so high powered, like I missed the shot and still blew the nigga arm off. I was like, what?
If I can get into that space real quick.
Hell yeah, you can. I'm gonna put my mic down. You talk.
Oh shit. Hold on, drop a bomb. Drop one more.
no. God. Hold on. I was gonna say that this episode has been sponsored by Department of Defense. No.
Oh shit.
Lockheed Martin.
Lockheed Martin. Yeah.
The good folks at Boeing.
Yeah. The good folks at Boeing.
Thank you for listening.
Get that Lockheed Martin check.
Hey, they talking about you pandering now.
Hey, we're gonna start pandering for real. This episode is brought to you by the military industrial complex. The Department of Defense.
Get that oil.
Yeah,
get that oil.
Yeah. Fuck the insurgents, nigga.
Oh shit. Fuck the insurgents is crazy.
But like you talk about like that bloodlust. It's basically to put it all into a term.
Yeah.
I never had that. Again, like you said, to me, it's just a job. I was like, brother, I'm here to get I said, y'all got my ass for 7 years, 1 month. I'm getting my benefits. I'm getting the fuck out.
And do you feel like that the fact that you were a drone operator helped you kind of stay away from that bloodlust because you kind of disconnected from it?
Honestly, no. I think that's something entirely different, just person to person. It's like, yo, what happened to you in life?
Yeah.
Because we talk about, again, the nature of my specific job, because again, there's a smaller drone that all those guys did was recon, right? We used to crack jokes. We used to make fun of them guys. I knew homies like it was called a shadow drone. My drone's called the Gray Eagle, right? We used to shit on shadow operators all the time, right? They only fly like 15,000 feet. You can hear the motherfuckers sound like a lawnmower. Like the fuck y'all even out there for? Like what do y'all? Like niggas hide when y'all come because they can hear y'all. Like, but our shit was the real stealth shit. But again, we could also include the attack portion. And on those deployments, man, some of the like craziest things I used to hear, and I ain't gonna name no names because I don't remember half of them. Really, you had guys who going to work every day, and all they want to do is fire missiles, bro. Like before we would leave, they would have it on their mind to be like, man, I'm trying to hit double-digit shots on this deployment. Right? Like it was a game to them. Again, we talk about playing God, bro. Mind you, we all at a majority of us 18 through 24. Kids
Young.
playing God, trying to see how many kills, how many lives we gonna take on this deployment.
But would you say this?
What's up?
Was it more brothers that was bloodthirsty, or was it the other kind?
The other kind?
The other man.
Well, again, I think that's an interesting question because you talk about statistics, right?
Iceman.
Yeah. Iceman.
You talk about statistics. I was obviously not a majority
Right.
as far as what I look like. It was very few black people, very few brothers in this space. The few brothers that I knew in that space, I can't say any of them were ever really like that. We're never like super gung ho, you know what I'm saying? And I got brothers still in, you feel me? And you talk about duality and like just how great life is. I got brothers still in. I love them to death, even though I don't agree with the military. But I know they doing it for a paycheck. I know they ain't gung ho. But again, you had plenty, to your point, you had plenty of the other kind. It was like,
They love it.
they love it. It's sport. It's sport for them. It's scary because after they get out, those type of people, they really just kind of disappear, at least until recently, into like the dark recesses of society somewhere.
Yeah.
But again, you talk about the red pillification of like social media and everything right now. They starting to find homes now. They starting to find groups and being in the same way you inspire me, they inspire somebody else.
True.
But it's like, what are they inspiring them with?
Yeah. And to use your skills
Yes, sir.
for hate. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's
like,
yeah.
and that's it, because what would make a person who has no combat skills more excited than being led by a combat?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the danger of it, for sure. A lot of times too,
And
you see those people going to the police and they
exactly. And then not only that, it's like the other side is like, bro. So on both of my deployments with the nature of my job, we had what you call an NCV, a non-combatant value. What a non-combatant value is basically in that what we call theater, that operating area, that country, the top brass get together and they decide based on just the political social climate of that theater, what kind of risks we're willing to take when it comes to collateral damage. And I hate the fact that you already know what I'm talking about.
yeah, damn.
And so I think in Afghanistan, to their credit, it was zero. They wasn't. It was no. If it's, we don't care how valued the target is. If it's civilians around, the answer is no. Y'all not shooting. In Iraq, the number was 10.
Damn.
So that means if we had at any point come up on a situation where we had positive ID on a high value target and we need to take them out and had clearance to, we were allowed to take out up to 10 people as collateral in the immediate area.
Sheesh.
Men, women, and children, doesn't matter.
And what's the radius of
The blast radius of the AGM 114 Hellfire.
God damn.
yeah, for sure.
Well, which one?
Yeah, that
hold
one.
on. Which one? Because we got a lot of different
Nah,
variants.
you
of
break
that.
it down. You break it down, brother.
Do the knowledge, brother. Do the knowledge.
Do the knowledge.
Drop a
nigga.
bomb again.
Hold on.
Yeah, hellfire.
Hey, Cat's having fun with that one this episode.
Yeah. He
Big
got
Bomb
his own,
Cat.
he
Brought to you by Lockheed Martin.
Yeah.
Hey, that's gonna be his brand deal.
Oh,
No. Hey, we're not putting that on.
yeah. They gonna be like, God damn, we like him.
Yeah. God damn it, she dropped more bomb than we do.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Well, I mean, so walk me through that. Like, what's the difference in missiles?
So I mean, even like there's so many different styles of the missile that it depended on the situation.
These is
It gets in the weed, bro. Yeah.
Well, also too, but this is expensive, dog.
Yeah, each missile averaged like 100,000.
Yeah.
100,000 each missile?
Yes, sir.
I'm dropping $1 million a day. They dropping $1 million a day.
Crazy.
Come on now.
I'm
You drop
not caring
10.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's good taxpayer dollars. Hey,
I'm
we gotta
18,
keep America
19,
safe.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, like there's one style of missile, and it's like a variant. I forget the variant name, but it's still a Hellfire missile. It has the power to detonate before hitting the ground, right? To cause a more effective, you know what I'm saying, blast. We have ones where, like, let's say they in a cave or in a building, right? It can the detonation creates a high pressurized environment, right? whatever's in there is done. We had ones where like, you know, we had ones.
Yeah,
where,
it just God damn.
Yeah.
Just from pressure.
yeah.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah, the pressure and heat, you're done. We had anti-tank, you feel me? Where it's configured to punch through that first layer of armor first and then hit what's inside with a secondary blast.
Hey, the thing is though, the engineering that goes into
And that's
it.
the other part to answer your question and bring it back home is like the engineering was so great that like you honestly did have to be a good shot. Like because the missiles are all laser guided munitions and they we had a phrase, it's called LOAL or lock on after launch. So you had different types. You had lock on after launch, lock on before launch. Ours are always lock on after launch, which means with like the whole firing sequence, once you're ready to fire, you had a person in the left seat who would actually fire the missile. You had a person in the right seat who was controlling the laser on the aircraft. So y'all working as a team. The laser has to go first, and the laser has to stay on the target the whole time. The missile is gonna go wherever the laser goes, right? As long as the codes match up. But wherever that laser goes, the missile's going. So if it's even off by 10 feet, the missile's gonna be off by 10 feet. And to your point, the engineers got so good where like even 10 feet can be the difference between somebody living and dying with one of those missile strikes.
Sheesh.
It is.
Yeah, that's good. I mean,
I've seen video of us hitting vehicles, somebody getting out and running away.
damn. And that's close proximity. Like you hit a car and you can still get
Brother,
out.
imagine you coming home telling the wife and kids, man, what happened to you today? You never believe it.
Got hit by a missile.
By a fucking missile.
Yeah, goddamn truck is done.
And that's the thing, is like they don't know it's happening until like the final seconds before impact.
Oh wow.
With the missile, because missiles fly so fast, they fly like Mach 1.4. It's like 900 some miles an hour.
Yeah, that you
Like,
can't even. It's
Normally,
yeah.
you'll see in the video before impact, like it'll be like a split second where they'll realize something's happening.
Over.
Next moment,
Yeah.
they're not there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy. Did it as it progressed, did it take a toll on you? Was it hard to do at first, or is there an eagerness to it at first where it's like
I don't think there was ever eagerness for me, man. Because honestly, I hated the job. It was boring to me. I ain't gonna say what I had or but I basically lied to get the job.
yeah. That's a boy. That's how our other boy that be in the military. He be telling like you can finesse that shit.
You feel me? But to the point, like my attention span and this job were not a match made in heaven. So like by the time even my first deployment, like even just from all the flying at the schoolhouse, I was like, all right, I kind of knew what it was gonna be. I was telling Kat, I finished my career with almost 1,700 flight hours. The average mission was 6 hours long overseas, right? So you let you know how many missions I did.
Yeah.
99% of those missions were all reconnaissance missions for like 6 hours at a time, upwards of 10 hours, scanning the desert, scanning houses, scanning dirt, scanning routes. Bro, that shit was boring.
Yeah.
Boring to me. So I was never eager.
Yeah.
Like you said, like you talk about lackadaisical. I get in there, all right, what we doing? We scanning? Brother, I'm doing everything but what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, a job becomes a job.
Job
Period.
becomes a job. Statute of limitation. Yeah, I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't care. Like, you know what? I will say the only thing I ever cared about, ever got my blood going, got me excited, it wasn't destruction and death. It was whenever I came into work and we had an Overwatch mission. Whenever we were tasked to watch friendlies on the ground, right? U.S. troops or partner nation, you know what I'm saying, or civilian personnel out there on the wire. I used to love that shit. I lived for that because
Yeah.
I knew I was helping make sure someone else came home alive.
Yeah. All right. That's a different.
I used to always, brother, like that. You can tell right here, and we
Yeah.
talking. Like it's giving me goosebumps thinking about it. Those used to be the missions I lived for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't care about
To make
mine.
sure people were safe.
I wanted to make sure someone else was coming home tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard. And then with that skill set, as much hours as you log, there's no overlap on that in the civilian society.
I mean, there actually is, and I think there will be as time moves forward because like unmanned aviation is still relatively new, surprisingly, as far as the outlook of the career field. I got boys who got out and did stuff, contracting. You go to civilian side, you get your FAA license. You feel me? So like, it has a presence. That presence is growing.
but you was over it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially on the contractor side. You talk again. All money ain't good money.
Yeah.
You feel me? And I had a few opportunities to go back overseas after I got out. Go make 90 grand, 100 grand in like 4 months. Come home, chill.
Yeah.
Go back, do it again. I got friends way more money than me right now. No college degree, ain't looking at college. banking it. But I wanted nothing to do with it. To your point, spiritually, mentally, morally, I was done with it.
How long did it take you to acclimate back into society? Like,
No time at all, because I never forgot who I was.
Yeah.
Like, so once I figured out, I remember that I only joined for validation. Right.
Yeah.
I never drank all the Kool-Aid, as they say.
Right.
Some folks go in, brother. They take that picture. They get the chugging it. Right. They embody that it's institutionalization. Same as somebody go to prison for so long. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what you focus on in there, it ultimately determines who you become.
True.
It was the same thing in the military. I didn't focus on the military. I focused on who am I.
Yeah. That I would assume in a situation like that. Self-awareness has to be key because if you get too caught up in what the institution is,
and a lot of folks do,
when you're not a part of it anymore, then you don't have no identity. You never discovered who you were in it.
But exactly, and a lot of vets don't. A lot of vets, they get caught up in a trap of complacency and comfort. Because again, ain't too many spaces left in society, right? You want to talk about like capitalism and shit, where a person can make such a secure living as in the United States military.
Right.
So a lot of folks go in. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I said, I was poor. Man, that first $800 check hit. Brother, I thought I was rich, brother.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos.
Big
ball.
Yeah, I'm up.
I got it.
I'm up. It's on me tonight. Drinks on me.
And so
Fuck
like
it.
And then like you get into like stereotypes, like, you know, you see early marriages in the military, you see early birth. Again, it's whatever.
My bad. Who was over here?
My boy dropping bombs.
Dropping bombs.
I was still
Lockheed Martin.
That's $200,000, baby.
Right there. They're gonna have to bleep that out, right? I don't want y'all to get sued. God.
It'll be behind the paywall. It'll be all right.
There we go. There we go.
We'll bleep it out when we put it on here. Nah, they probably like great promotion. Yeah, man. These young black men, they on code. We like them.
Pandering.
Yeah, they pandering to the military.
Cut them a check.
Yeah, cut them a check. All right, now y'all, I'm telling y'all, when all the artwork come down,
y'all start seeing posters of Top Gun.
Top Gun, American flag. Don't tread on me. Just airplanes right here, little model planes. Yeah. Take all these books away, put a missile right here. Shit.
No, for real, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never forgot who I was, bro. And then some people, again, it's easy. It's easy to go into there. Again, prison, I think, is different, right? They ain't got no choice. In the military, you kind of got a choice, but you kind of don't. But again, I remember I heard a quote somewhere. It's like, it's easy to get like lower class or peasants to stay in line when you give them just enough to enjoy ice cream.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's the military. They
And also too, when you and the people in front of them tell them how good the ice cream is too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, God damn, I gotta get some of that.
And then the other side is once you in, bro, it's cult-like. It is truly cult-like in the sense of one of the biggest things, no matter what career you in, it's like you hear a lot of negativity about the outside world whenever you speak up about leaving the military, right? Especially I was telling Kat, I left the military July of 2020. This is when COVID has been ramped up to a point where the outside world, even the military at that time, everybody was shutting down, right? Bases were shutting down. I know cities shutting down, folks working from home. And I was telling Kat, and we can maybe segue into this, I was getting out to go to barber school at the time. Barber schools are talking about either shutting down or going virtual. And so to be in that space, knowing my contract's coming up on completion, the world's shutting down, you got these recruiters fear-mongering, talking about how, you know, they do that normally, but now since COVID's happening, they really, you finna get out barber? Don't you read the headlines about COVID? Brother, they tried it all, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, too, the thing that reinforces it is you got your own language. You know, in the military, like you could rattle off things right now that we wouldn't even understand.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? That's just like gang shit. Like gangs, they got their own language, their own lingua. It makes you a part of this exclusive club, and like that's just hacking.
Gives you a sense of belonging.
Yeah, that just hacking that human mind though. Like that's just an understanding too. Even if it is more efficient for missions or relaying information, it's still. It's you live in the echo chamber. You belong somewhere. You know what I mean? And you got colors. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense. And why and how people do get caught up in it. But to relate that to, your transition out. What was those first steps like getting out and that lead you into more? I went organization, activism, right?
Man, it's a long journey, brother. To start, as far as answering your question, it's been a long journey. I was telling Kat, I've done a lot. My second deployment, 2018, Iraq, springtime, 23 years old. I'm unhappy with my job. I know I want to do something different. I don't want to sign another contract. I'm on Instagram one night, like 2 a.m. over there. So I don't know what time it was back in the States. One of my homeboys from back home is a barber. He's doing his thing. He's doing his apprenticeship. Shouts out to Jeffrey Brock from St. Louis. And some of the most amazing work I've ever seen, bro. And I was truly mesmerized. I said, I want to learn how to do something like that with my hands. So from that point forward, for like a 5.5 month period on that deployment, I did nothing but commit myself to YouTube. We talk about Stream University, but I was in YouTube University 7 days a week, a minimum of 2 hours a day for like 5.5 months. And then I just started politicking to my boys over there every day. I let them know, yo, when we get back, I'm going to be the guy. I'm a barber. Like, at first, they thought I was bullshitting, as anyone probably would. At that point of the deployment, we in the Middle East, we bored. But every time they would see me, I was YouTubing, bro.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what it was about barbering either. That I was studying. I wanted to know it all, brother. I would sit. There were days I would sit and watch 2+ hours of videos on sanitation. Everything was exciting to me about the craft, about learning. And when they really saw how serious I was taking it and how consistent I was with communicating my plans when we got back, they really started to like. At first, they never like picked on me. Nothing. They never, you know what I'm saying. Shouts out to my boys once again. They always fuck with me, but at first it was like, he probably just. But then they're like, nah, this nigga serious.
Yeah.
They ain't say the N-word because ain't nothing in black. It's the military. They didn't say the N-word. But fast forward, that summer 2018, we get back. I dropped like $630 on like my first startup kit, bro. And in the military, when you're like a single soldier, kind of like being in college, you stay in like dorm room, barracks, same thing. So like, I'm gonna say dorm room just so the folks watching know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But in my dorm little room, a little kitchen area in my bed, and then I had like a little mini tool chest I got from Home Depot. I had the ring light. I had a barber chair from Amazon.
was lit.
Brother, I had.
Yeah, you got set up real quick.
And mind you, when I was over there, I was doing research as far as like products. You feel me? There were days where I would do nothing but product research. So I knew what kind of clippers I was getting. I'm gonna give me a pair of Walls. I'm gonna give me a pair of Andis. You know what I'm saying? I had a pair of Andis. Fade Masters, I had a pair of Wall, Magic Clips. I could probably run through my whole thing if I really sit here and remember. But I had a legitimate setup. My homies started fucking with me from day one because they saw those 5.5 months of just dedicated obsession, really.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, I stopped studying my Army job, bro. I didn't give a fuck about none of that shit, bro.
Yeah. You already on your way out. You had a foot out the door.
Mind you, my contract wouldn't end until 2020, so this is a little bit over 2 years before even that point. And again, we got back, and my boys, I owed them everything, man. They gave me the opportunity. They kept coming back to me. I was about as good as anyone would be to start, but because I cared so much and I dedicated so much time and effort to being the best I could be, I was able to minimize the amount of mistakes I made in the beginning. And as my confidence began to grow, so did like that sureness that this is going to be my out once my contract is up. And it got to the point where I would have like brass. I'm having officers. I'm having folks bring their kids to the barracks, to the dorms, you feel me, to get haircuts. And that's when I knew I was like, all right, you got something.
Yeah,
like,
you're good. You got a way out.
You got a way out, a skill. And like the thing is, to your point, I didn't want to get out and just follow that pipeline of police work or something else. I said, nah, man, I really want to do something that like moved me and made me happy because my spirit been silent since I was 18 doing this work. And so, yeah, like, and to that point, I knew I was good, you know what I'm saying? Every time we have a room inspection, the brass is coming in to make sure everybody's room clean. They see my barber set up, they're like, the fuck you got going on in here? But they fucked with it because I was staying out of trouble. I wasn't fucking off. I wasn't drinking. You know what I'm saying? Being an alcoholic in the meantime, like so many other service members do.
Yeah.
I was dedicated to something.
How does that, it's good to, I think also too, like a plan, man.
Yeah.
A plan is everything, right?
Plan is everything.
I think, I'm gonna circle back to the a point, but when in 2022, 32 years old,
yes, sir.
I knew like, all right, this road, like this 2-3 weeks on the road, this month on the road, like the money good, but boy, this shit ass. It's taxing. It's taxing on the body. It's taxing on the mind. there is a form of isolation and institutionalization that happens to truck drivers. They spend a lot of time in isolation, and they get to a point where they don't talk to people, or when they do talk to people, they dump on them like everything. They probably went 3-4 days without real human contact. You know what I mean? You don't know what their at-home life is. So there's an overlap of alcoholism that comes from that too. But I would say I knew, like, okay, I'm moving back 2023. I'm moving back to Georgia. I'm going to start stacking my money, and I'm going to start collecting for this studio. Like, I was like, I'm going to have a studio, like, because my TikTok was doing fairly well. Yes, I don't think I had cracked the 100,000 mark, but I think I was like 80, 85.
Yes, sir.
And to that point, it's like I had a plan. Like, okay, I'm gonna get this podcast started. I'm gonna do it audio only, and then when I move next year, I'm gonna start. Like, I'm gonna build the studio out. I'm gonna get everything that's needed, and we're gonna go. And like, because I had something to look forward to, it made it where you get a little eager to move forward, but you also, like, the eagerness is just like enthusiasm. Like, bruh, I'm just ready to do this. Like, I really got a plan. But to circle back to the alcoholism part, it's like, how does that affect most of the military people, especially when I've had a friend that was like, she was based in Turkey, and she was like, it was a hostile environment, so they weren't allowed to leave the base, and all they did was drink.
Drinking at free time.
All they did was drink. Yeah.
So I'm gonna start.
And do you see that translate to like veteran homelessness as well? Do you think that that's a big part of it? Addiction mixed with the mental health part?
I'm about to say the one thing you take besides your benefits when you leave the military is your problems.
Yeah.
You don't leave your problems behind. They come right with you.
Mm-hmm.
If unresolved.
Yeah.
Right? So if it's gambling, if it's alcoholism, if it's domestic violence, right? That transition, again, I think it sometimes can end up being exacerbated, right? Because, again, you talked about isolationism with truckers. You see a lot of that with veterans, man. They come back into the real world. And I've never understood this. For some reason, they feel as if they have trouble integrating back with, like, I hate even using the term, but normal people who've never served. And I understand sometimes with, like, trauma, PTSD, right? There's not many people you can sit down and have a conversation with about, like, war, and they understand, right? And it can truly empathize the realities and the horrors of that. But from a majority of them, it's like, bro, you never saw war. It's like some of them just want to perpetuate this, like, at least I feel like this. I don't know how to describe.
They want to be Top Gun.
Just anti-communal, right? It's weird. But for the other side, it is that institutionalization. When veterans get out, and some of them who do, that isolation is a result of that unresolved trauma, the alcoholism, domestic violence, PTSD, huge, you know what I'm saying? Seeing a lot of that. They fall into those same pits. And again, when I think the military itself is already extremely conservative, its culture extremely violent, extremely right-wing to begin with. And so I think when you come from something like that and you're impacted in a negative manner, and then you're forced into isolationism, and that's all you know, and that's what you continue to allow to exist as your echo chamber, you continue in just a downward spiral, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think I can imagine that social media doesn't help it, because you get in your own echo chambers even online.
Confirmation bias, bro.
Yeah, online is that's why, like, I'll say that I'm happy when even if I get pushback on negativity, it's like, okay, well, at least I'm not existing in an echo chamber. Like, I want to experience disagreement. You know what I mean? Now, if we can articulate
Honestly,
it.
I feel like that disagreement is fake anyway.
Yeah.
It only exists online.
Yeah.
But not neither here nor there, but
yeah. But the bias is a very real thing because it gets them wheels turning in their brain.
Exactly.
So you get out, you start you barber.
So I get out. It's July 2020. I moved to Los Angeles. The reason I moved to Los Angeles the year before, I met my woman. You feel me? We've been together since March 3rd, 2019. It's the day we met. I say this, long story short. I met her. So I was all right, I'm moving to LA. Again, COVID. The world shut down. Her and I decided to move in together. She finds us a beautiful little spot in LA. And again, I didn't want to do beauty school through Zoom, right? I wasn't going into beauty school with zero experience, mind you. I did 5.5 months of like YouTube University, and then I did probably a year and some change of actual hands-on once we got back to the States. So I had experience cutting hair. I had already jumped into the fire, and I was good by then. And so I was like, I don't want to be cutting on doll heads, right? I understand that's going to be part of it, but I didn't want the whole experience to be there. I'm like, that's not going to help anyone because I know I've cut a real head. I know it's nothing like cutting a doll head.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about the power of obedience, bro. I'm down there early. It's like July. I think it's like late July. Fresh out the military. I don't know nobody, whatever. And I need a haircut one day. Random Friday. Go on my phone. Find some barbershop in West LA. The Rich Barber Studio. And I pull up. And I've been cutting hair long enough. I've been in the scene of barbering in real life and on social media to kind of know, like, this was a more high-end barbershop, so I know they don't do walk-ins. So I'm going to walk in, play stupid, act like I don't know that. Walk in, hey, y'all got any woo-woo? He said, nah, man, we only do appointment only. But you know what? It's a barber in the back who I don't think got nobody right now. Let me go see if he be willing to take you. I bet, cool, whatever. He come back, yeah, man, bro can take you. He about in a moment. Bet. So barber come out, me and him sit down. You know, small talk, woo-woo. I let him know I just moved down to L.A., me and my lady, woo-woo. And I let him know I had kind of been in barbering as well for, at that point, a little bit under 2 years. And let him know my journey. And I said, I actually moved down here to go to beauty school, but with COVID, blah, blah, blah. And he said, man, that's funny. He said, what beauty school you going to? I told him beauty school. He said, bro, I'm the barber instructor there.
Crazy. Crazy.
Right hand of God on my baby brother's grave, bro. It's a true story.
Bro, I've been in plenty of serendipitous moments like that. Where,
true story.
Yeah.
And this is Los Angeles, California. This ain't no small town where it's only one barbershop. It's one of the biggest cities in America. I could have chose any barbershop in Los Angeles, and any barber in any barbershop in Los Angeles could have serviced me that day, and it ended up being the guy who would be my barber instructor at the school that I was already looking at.
Crazy.
I left that barbershop. I called my lady. I said, I'm enrolling.
Boom.
So I went on ahead and I enrolled in beauty school, and like the first half of it was on Zoom. But it was cool, you know what I'm saying? Honestly, I did like it a little bit. You could be at home on Zoom. I'd be off camera getting high, you feel me? Ain't gonna lie to you. You feel
LA,
me?
good bud.
You
know
veteran, fresh out and everything. I was straight edge. In childhood, I didn't smoke. None of that. I wasn't drinking underage. I mean, again, mama kept belt the ass, you feel me? So and in the service, I drank, right? I was allowed, but I didn't smoke none of that. So I finally got the chance to enjoy it. But yeah, I'd be in there like I'd be smoking weed, Uber eating breakfast, doing doll heads and shit. It was smooth.
That's hard. Yeah.
It was smooth. And then like, you know, once things kind of eased up, they made the decision. We was able to go back into the school, and so I was able to get at least half of it actually doing, you know what I'm saying, real people hair, which again, I was already used to that, but you know, then I got introduced to, because I went to a Paul Mitchell school. Those who don't know, very phenomenal brand in the beauty space.
Yeah.
They gonna
as
barbers, they're gonna put you. You're doing women's hair. You're doing it all. You're not just turning fades all day. Brother, I got cold at doing them blowouts. Boy, at doing the beach curl on the white women. Boy, I was nasty with it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was cold, bro. I was cold in the motherfucker, bro. Hell yeah. I'll be sitting there, and you know they, again, as a cis man, you feel me? That's
the whole thing. But I mean,
yeah,
shit, bro. A skill is a skill, though. You know what I'm saying? I think so we do that
barber,
barber.
Right? And you're gonna, and so towards the end of barbering, guess what? Again, my mind is racing at this point. I think I got the bug for just trying new things.
Yeah, that's a thing, bro.
The bug, not only that, I think I realized I'm just an ambitious little motherfucker. That's all.
Yeah, because how long did you cut hair for?
I mean,
or just barber for a period?
From, I would effectively say mid 2018 through like 2022. Right, I still have on my clippers. Like, do I still remember the basics? Like, yes, I could turn a fade. Will it be like the greatest fade in the world right now? No, but it'll be better than a nigga who ain't never cut. So hold on. Yeah. It's gonna be better than I can get a nigga ready to go out tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But like professionally, no, it's been a minute. But towards the end of beauty school, which I graduated 2021, around like July. At the same time, bro, I was hustling in the background. I was in fitness. I started getting into fitness. In the military, fitness is a huge part of your life, bro. To the point where I was mentally and spiritually exhausted from physical fitness by the time I left the military. Right. Again, 7 years, 1 month. And I was never like an out of shape service member. Never had a problem with my weight. I only ever failed 2 physical fitness tests my entire career. One was the very first one I ever took in boot camp, and another one was a practice one I took to go into like a leadership academy.
Yeah.
But the anxiety I would get, because like my worst event was the run. Because in the Army, I was in the Army. The physical fitness test through most of my career before I got out, it was 3 events. You had 2 minutes to do as many push-ups as you can. That's the first event. You had 2 minutes to do as many sit-ups as you can. It's the second event. And then the last event is you have to do a timed 2-mile run. You have to do it as fast as you can. And then the scoring system is broken down by age and gender, right? So it's categorical based on if you're a man, and then like the being fresh in the military, I was 18 to 24 years old, right? So,
Yeah.
like the standards were so high. I think my fastest 2 miles like 14:30, and that to them was subpar.
Sheesh. But it's like average is like what? On a mile is like what?
The average person probably not running a 10-minute mile. My fastest split time, and when I was in the military, was like a 6:50.
Oh, okay. Damn, yo.
And to them, like that's good. And I don't know what was in me that morning that made me run that 6:50.
Yeah. Just determined.
I just woke up. I was feeling good that morning. But like my average on my average split was like 7:30. You feel me?
Yeah.
But to them, that was like average. To the military, that wasn't like spectacular.
But the fitness that you got into post barber,
it was
is more lifting and things like that.
It was. Yeah, it was
Calisthenics,
like
you
it was
know?
bodybuilding. Bodybuilding. A lot of the photos aren't on social media. They archive, but brother.
Yeah.
You
You got obsessed with it. Yeah, that's that. I'm picking up on a pattern here.
I was
There's a theme.
I was very good. I was very good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't lift right now just because I'm so busy with like I feel like things that matter more than my own vanity.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I was huge into my vanity.
You seen Magazine Dreams?
Not yet, bro. I don't know why I keep waiting, because you know what's funny? I ran into some of them people in that movie in real life in LA. Cause when I was deep into bodybuilding, I was working out I had the membership at the original Gold's Venice. I ran into some famous bodybuilders. Hell yeah, I've been to some. So I want to watch it, but I was like,
Man, you should, bro. I just from like the outside looking in.
Yeah.
For one, as a career, it's crazy.
Yeah, I would never do it as a career, just as a hobby. I ain't gonna lie to you.
It's crazy because the amount of food and
Forget the food, because I've been there. Like the food is hard. I'm not sticking myself with needles, brother. The drug part. That's the drug part for me. That's why I never knew I would never.
And
do
it is that is the industry.
I would never do it competitively, because
they all on roids.
all of them. Yeah, I got good friends. I know good people in my personal life. Yeah. Good people, but
Biggest shit toddler did.
and so like with the fitness thing. So to your point, towards the end of my barber journey. You good?
My bad.
No, you good. You good. I want to make sure I give you the story. So towards the end of the barber journey, right? I'm getting into fitness because I was so burnt out in the military that once I got out, I had stopped doing fitness for a period. I just wanted to breathe, bro. So I was just eating whatever I want. And my girl, she started getting low key like concerned. She'd be like,
Getting fat, my nigga.
she be like, you running through Oreos kind of quick.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? I ain't never get that big, bro. At my big, I was like 215.
I'm trying to get down to 215.
Listen, right? And then so like this was late, like November 2020. I said, all right, I gotta turn this around.
Yeah.
In like 4.5 months, bro, I've dropped from 215 at my heaviest to 168.
Shit.
When I say I was competition, I'll show you off camera.
One of them.
You want to talk about like magazine dreams, like as far as like detail, and where you can see striations and all that. I've been there. I've been below 5% before.
Yeah, that's.
I'll show you. I can't find it on my phone right now. I got a million pictures in there, but I was that dedicated. And I'm just that disciplined. Again,
yeah.
Because from the military.
So you go. So 2019, you get out.
Barbering.
Barber.
But here's
now
the
we
thing.
get into fitness.
Before I even graduated beauty school.
Yeah, it already started.
In the background, I obtained my personal trainer license. So I was going home after beauty school, sitting down at the computer, knocking out the personal trainer, little NASM certification.
Just figuring it out.
I was and then we talk about doubling up.
How much YouTube University you look at then? Like how many muscle groups do you know about, my nigga?
And then from that, like, bro, I spent 2, 3, 4 hours into the gym, man. Like, bro, my numbers, like, and then in powerlifting, my max is 545 right now.
You was
Yeah.
You got into it though.
And mind you, you look at me. I'm not more than 200 pounds. I'm busting down 545 like it's nothing.
Yeah.
So I loved it, man.
Put him on security detail.
Hold on.
Security detail, man. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, so I did that for a while, private, and I worked for Equinox, the luxury fitness brand out there in LA. So I got to do that, got to kind of benefit from seeing how they run their business and how they teach trainers. Then did that for about 6-8 months. Got bored with that. Went and got my CDL, brother. With that, I found some random program for veterans and used some of my post 9/11 GI Bill, which to get to the main point court. I remember that. Yeah, because it's gonna come back.
Yeah.
But at the time, I used my post 9/11 to go to beauty school because Paul Mitchell was expensive. Tuition was like 20 plus grand. So I used like a year to do that. But while I was doing that, I didn't use any of my post 9/11 to get my personal training license. I just had extra money lying around. So I was like, all right, bro, do that. But with the CDL, I used a little bit more of my 9/11 and I went and got my CDL license. It's like an 8-week course. 4 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks was like at the crib.
Yeah.
Virtually. And then they actually flew us out to Colorado, bro, to do like the last enhanced portion. It was like a 10-day thing. Of course, right? Like day one, they threw us in the truck. So I'm talking to somebody, you know trucking, bro. So we can relate here. Brother, just being thrown in a fire like that.
Yeah, they just thought it's one of the most
you start with the straight back and then you do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's nerve-wracking for sure because that's a big vehicle.
And then then this is like the program, I ain't gonna lie, it was pretty fucking rink-a-dink. And I really hope that program doesn't survive because of the way it was ran. Like I had to fight to make sure I got on my correct payment and everything. It was kind of fucky. But that's trucking for you.
Yeah. There's a lot of janky shit going on in trucking.
That's trucking. They
get money off people. All this predatory when they want.
My point is, all the vehicles in AR was all stick. So you know, it's a lot of. You learn on automatic, bro. We learned on stick. So again, I limited stick driving experience in my life. They throwing us on whatever the fuck interstate that was in Colorado. You know what I'm saying? But I did that. Got my CDL. I was actually about to use my CDL. This was around like 2023. I was about to start trucking. I wasn't smoking at the time. I had stopped smoking. Thing is, I'm a heavy smoker. People are like, are you an addict? No, I just like to smoke. And I got disposable income.
Right. There you go.
Hey, don't have kids.
No. Yeah.
But
hey, vibing shit.
But I had stopped because I knew this is something that I wanted. And it was nothing for me. Cold turkey. I'm clean, pass. And then one day I'm just randomly online, bro. I just be doing shit, just looking shit up. And I came across something called like Chapter 31. It was basically a vocational rehab program for veterans. And part of what it can provide you, if you so choose, it decided once you're in, they can send you back to school to get a degree towards a job better fit to your disabilities you may have, whatever. So I said, all right, well, I'm like, well, I had always kind of had a college degree on the back of my mind, not from a sense of wanting to earn more money. Again, at this point in my life, I've learned to love myself. I know I don't need college, right?
Right.
I've learned how to cut hair. I have a CDL. I have ways to make money. I just want to do it.
Yeah.
I just want to do it. I just wanted to prove that I could do it. See the fuck university talking about.
Yeah.
It was really that approach, and just got signed up and decided, I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll go get an accounting degree. I'm like, I can do what the fuck those people do. Risk has been my entire approach to life.
Yeah, because it's like,
you know,
we go
drone operator, attack drone operator. Go ahead.
2.5 GPA.
Yes, sir.
To attack drone operator.
Yes, sir.
Barber.
Yes, sir.
Personal trainer.
Yes, sir.
Truck driver.
Yes, sir.
Accountant. What the fuck?
What did your girl say about all this? Like,
she supports it all, bro. That's she's the best.
But the thing is, it's like, I mean, time and time again, he's doing the shit.
So he's doing it, yeah.
That's part of the reason why, because I actually, to this day, I'll be like,
he might not do it for long.
Yeah, but he's gonna do it.
He's doing it. Yeah, and he's gonna be good at it. So it's like,
well, you know, part of the maneuvering is just with my veterans benefits. Again, we talk about just like understanding the world we live in through an economic lens. I was always a person where I need my freedom of maneuver, right? So once I kind of figure, I got these vet benefits, I can say fuck you to an employer and walk out.
Oh yeah,
I was like, yeah, we on now.
Yeah. You got a little fuck you money, yeah. And just the whole situation set up. So,
yes,
we want to get to where you are now.
Yes, sir.
Because you mentioned the GI Bill.
Yes, sir.
And I know that
a part college, and it brings us to the
because a part of your a part of what you do now,
My
you
aim,
use your
my angle.
own.
Yes, sir.
You use your own GI
I use
Bill.
my own benefits, yes, sir.
Yeah.
To fund my. So early this year, getting back to the point where we began at the beginning of this conversation.
You're great. I mean, this is an interesting story. This nigga like Forrest Gump.
The St. Louis Forrest Gump, baby.
Yeah, Bubba Gump.
I just kept running.
Literally. My man,
Yeah, he did.
just kept running, man.
You feel me? And so like now you're right. Fast forward present day. I'm in school. You know, political climate. You know, the election. You feel me? I'm reading. I'm growing. I'm just growing older in general, right? I see myself becoming. What's up?
Did you get your degree in accounting?
I'm getting it right now. I'm in the process.
You did say you still in there,
Yeah, I'm
process.
still in it.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So we on like the 5th, 6th wave right now.
Yeah.
That's good though. That's good. And tie it all in and what you're learning, is it helping you with your aim and what you got
think
going
it
on
will,
now?
and I'm gonna get to that in a moment, because I've learned, my experience taught me a lot in my 20s, and I'll get to that. To your point, right? So I decided I want to get involved, right? I love the legacy of the Black Panther Party, right? Obviously, nuance aside, we got to say that these days. Motherfuckers act like they don't know nuance exists.
Yeah.
But the nuance of the down aside, right? Just the legacy of what they stand for, and like the social programs and the impact that they were able to not only create and sustain through their tenure. It speaks to me, man. And not only that, from a personal standpoint, like my own story is a story like so many Black Americans of addiction, right? Of the crack cocaine epidemic. You feel me? My own mother being a victim of the 80s and 90s epidemic, right? She would pass a few years ago, my maternal mom, but
Condolences, brother.
But because of her addiction, you know, she was robbed of motherhood. And because I'm the youngest of 8 children.
Sheesh.
You feel me? And
Yeah.
so me and my immediate older brother, like the rest of my siblings, we were split up, adopted, but at least me and my older brother were together.
Right.
So I never had to go through life alone. And so like we talk about like the people I felt I wanted to start helping, or where I wanted to start. And my advice to anyone would be, start with what you know and start with what your story reflects. And my story, again, was one where my mother was a victim of this system, right? Due to, you know what I'm saying? And as a result, she was robbed of motherhood. As a result, me and my brother go into adoption. As a result, my other siblings don't know who we are. You know, there's so much that came about it. And I began to realize my mother's life and her failures or her successes, not so much that, but just the things she went through, I began to understand they weren't really her fault so much more than they were. She was just a victim like the rest of us, bro.
Right.
And so I wanted to fight back. Again, I told you, I'm the type of motherfucker, like, I'm an eye for an eye, but I'm not finna crash out. You feel me?
Right.
So like, I'm like, all right, bro. Knowing that this system was what did that to my mom,
Yeah.
was what made me and my brother have to go through. It's like, again, we talk about, all right, well, I can crash out now. I can go online, right?
Well, but you have to strategically get that eye back. You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
even here, like we getting our eye back,
Yeah.
but it's a you just turning the dial a little bit at the time.
Meaningful get back takes time.
Meaningful get back.
Meaningful get back takes time.
Because
takes
you're getting hearts and you getting minds.
Yes.
You getting people's spirits lifted up about this shit.
And you have to be very intentional about
Yeah, and there's a lot of. I think the thing is like we're very cynical.
Yes, sir.
About our community, and once we get a little bit more optimistic and more empathetic towards our community and understanding the system and what it's done, and that we're living in the effects of those things, then the possibilities start to arise. Like through this influence, like I said, like next week we're going, this next Friday, we're going to a lunch program. So, and they want to turn it into a breakfast program because of food insecurity, but it starts as a summer lunch program for kids who experience food insecurity, because a lot of times the only times kids are eating is at school.
At school.
You see what I'm saying? So even with what you were inspired by these social programs, is getting back to those initiatives that help the kids. And because
me, because again, D said I was on a free lunch program.
For sure. For sure. Same. So I think, yeah, what you're doing is important, and it has inspired me. If you want to get more and talk more.
Yeah. So we get into some of the metrics and I guess the details of it. So I decided I wanted to start getting involved with the mutual aid and a direct support efforts, because after the elections, you feel me, I think a lot of people were emotionally they were moved, right, in whatever way they were moved, but a lot of people were moved, myself included, and I ain't gonna lie, man. I went down some rabbit holes on TikTok. I might have found you around the same time, but some of them rabbit holes I went down again because I think of my military background. But I kind of found myself in some areas where it's like, all right, low key, I probably shouldn't be in this side of TikTok. Like some of the, I ain't gonna lie. I have some documents where, like, if I wanted to crash out, I got the playbook on. Yeah. I don't need to say too much more.
Nah, the
want
documents let me know what you was talking about. Yeah.
It got that, but I realized you said, nah, that ain't what I want.
Right.
I know I got that capability and that propensity, but for me, it's about, again, like you said, longevity and like, all right, let's be here tomorrow. Let's do something where we're actually gonna be able to come back tomorrow. And
Absolutely.
do more, right?
Absolutely. And create that impact too.
And
then you have, well, the thing is too, to the point, you have like a couple of tangible skills that lend you to creating avenues for kids, kids that want to barber or express themselves creatively in beauty.
About all that.
Kids that are really into fitness or athletics, you could teach them how to train themselves.
Yes, sir.
People that want to organize, you have the organizing skills that you gain from the military.
Yes, sir. So with that, yes, sir. I'm getting back to that. I decided to begin addressing just the things I think we can see most apparent in Los Angeles, and I mean the big ones right now: homelessness,
for sure.
Jesus, and I think food insecurity probably falls right behind that. And you have a few hot spots in Los Angeles where you see a majority concentrated homeless and drug afflicted. We have a park called MacArthur Park in Los Angeles, and it's probably like the second most concentrated area in Los Angeles where you see these things. And so seeing these people and understanding that these people, in a way, when I see these people, I see my mom.
Yeah. So you got purpose.
So now I have a purpose, and I have a purpose that's going to sustain me. You know what I'm saying? This isn't a fad. This isn't something that's going to come and go in 5-10 years.
Right.
God willing, I'm in my 80s and 90s. I'll still be doing this work.
Yeah.
With that same memory forefront of this is why I'm doing this. And so, again, just basic stuff. I want to feed the people. Again, Black parents, I looked at, what were they doing? They were feeding people. They're giving them just very basic things, right? None of what they were doing was, what's the term? You be using it on a podcast. Just, brothers be talking about the stars and whatnot.
Oh, no, yeah. It's not esoteric. It's basic.
It's not, right? It's like,
but the thing is, it's like what they're doing are addressing needs.
Yes.
I think that we undermine like what that word really means.
Yes.
Because you don't know what you need until you don't got it. Mm-hmm. You take a bath for granted until you ain't got nowhere to bathe.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You take
heat for granted until
it's cold. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think the conversations me and you have had, and then being involved with this program here, it's like, yeah, get the people and get them what they need. You know what I mean? Like, I'm blessed, bro. You know what I'm saying? We are extremely blessed, but what are you gonna do with the blessing?
And that's my thing. And that was kind of my story, because just from even where I live, where I was blessed to kind of fall. That's why I told you I was blessed to fall there, right? I ain't gonna say on camera where I live. I told you where I live. I was blessed.
Yeah.
And so as I was going through my 20s, I began to kind of realize, like, yo, I'm blessed, but like I know my personal family struggling back home, and then I know for sure these random people I see every day on these streets of Los Angeles, everywhere I go, are struggling. And here I am, I continue to live like a king, and they suffer. And I'm no millionaire. I'm not even no 100,000 there. You feel me? I ain't no 50,000 there. But through just my veterans benefits, I understand I have more than most, and so I feel like morally I have an obligation to do something.
Right.
And for me,
and you got your mind intact, like,
yes, sir.
You know.
And for me, it's the thing. Like we look around society and we see people. I see so many people with so much more than me who do so much less. It just got to a point where it's sickening to me. And so to get actual details out finally, I've so far held 2 mutual aid events in Los Angeles. I held one in March, and then recently just held one on the 17th of May. For the first event, me and my friends, just grassroots donation support. We raised over $1,200. You feel me? I donated like 30% of that pot just through the economic power of my benefits while I'm in school. We were able to feed over 200 people in MacArthur Park that day, right? I literally went to Costco, had Shorty place an order for like 125 hot dogs, like 8 large pizzas, you feel me? And then in the background, she was on Amazon doing a product research for me, because again, I'm a full-time student. She full-time working, but she's still making shit happen behind the scenes, pandering. But you feel me? And she went online, did the product research for me so that we could find a way to create at least 100 robust hygiene kits, because that's the number I want. I say, hey, I want to give 100 kits out, but my plan was to go to like Dollar Tree or something and buy, they get like a little $1 toothbrush, and I thought that was going to be financially feasible. And at first, but the more I started thinking about it, I said, oh, that's going to add up quick. I talked to her, I said, I don't know what to do. You feel me? Because I'm the type of person, I put it out into the world first, and then I got to go back and be like, all right, how are we going to do that?
Yeah.
And so, but she, came through. And so we bulk ordered a bunch of the stuff. She, on the first time, my shorty just by herself in our living room, bust down 100 of those packs, put them together by herself. They all had like fresh socks, feminine hygiene products. And then I partnered with the young lady I go to school with out there who works for a nonprofit, who was able to create these information kits. They all had a bunch of information, English and Spanish, because, it's a big, dual demographic out there. And it had a bunch of relevant resources and information in English and Spanish, and we had fentanyl test strips in every pack, and we had Narcan spray in every pack. We was able to give out 100 essential packs of Narcan to that community and feed over 200 people on the first event.
That's a beautiful thing.
You feel me? And then, so coming off of the success of that event, and I was able to get one of my homies who works for the school newspaper to come out and write a story, and they had a photographer, and I was, I kind of saw the play, you feel me? I said, I needed proof of concept, because eventually I was like, all right, after the first event, I realized this takes a lot of effort. Definitely takes a lot of money. I'm not going to be in college forever. This is a good way to get started. This is a good way to galvanize people, but I already need to be forward thinking. So my mind is already now thinking nonprofit, but we'll get there. Second event, I said, all right, we had great success on the first one. I know what I can do, so I know I can do more, right? And so I said, all right, we fed 200. I want to feed 500 this time. That's how the thought process was. And again, in the beginning, it's just me. So like, these board meetings where the decision making, it's just like me and like my 4 personalities. You feel me? No, like
that's real though.
In the beginning, you know how it is. When you start
real.
something by yourself, it's like, all right, decision makers.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what? I did 200 off of $1,200, and I donated half. I said I can do more. So I said I want us to feed 500 next time. I said we raised 1,200. I want to raise 3,000. This time, and I said, you know what? Here's the angle I was gonna pitch. I said, I'm gonna just blast social media, and I say, look, y'all saw what I did the first time, so now I got trust I'm building, right? Y'all know I'm not running off with y'all money, just fucking off. So I said, for every dollar that y'all donate up to $1,500, I will come out of my pocket and match that dollar so we can get to 3,000. And sure enough, over the course of like a 60-day period, it definitely took me a couple pay cycles. But and honestly, you talk about sacrifice, like that's money that, again, I took out of my own home.
Yeah.
You feel me? Both times. Because I ended up putting in like a total of $1,600 this time around. And so that's money that Shorty could be enjoying.
Yeah.
That's the money my family could be enjoying. You feel me? That's money I could be smoking.
For sure.
No, for real.
Sure.
And so through that 60-day period, and then just the constant social media, you feel me? I was able to meet it. I don't know. Can I tell them?
Yeah.
You feel me? The big homie here was kind enough to get me across the finish line. Deontay actually sent my final $100 to help me meet my $3,000 goal. So, brother, thank you for that.
No problem.
Can we get an applause for that, please? Thank you. Absolutely. No more dropping bombs. But yeah, and so we raised that, and I actually ended up raising over $3,400 the second time around. So $1,800 came from the community, $1,600 came out of my own pocket. I was able to partner with a freelance chef in Los Angeles, and I also partnered with somebody I found through I think Threads, bro, or Instagram. A woman works for a nonprofit called Inglewood Community Table. That's all I'm gonna say. But I got to connect who was able to get me, bro, so much fresh food from a food bank in Los Angeles. But because all food banks are not created equally.
Right.
I've never seen fresher produce, and I had well over 120 pounds of ground beef that I was able to get my hands on all for free. I currently back home, I'm still currently sitting on over 300 hot dogs. I'm probably gonna use those for a summer event for the kids or something in the community. You feel me? A little grill out at the park, public, come, you know what I'm saying? But I partnered with the chef, and she created. Let me not say we, because I was just the idea, man. But this chef, God bless her, you feel me? Chef Artiva Gunn. I forget her business name, but that's her name. So gotta give shout outs. Chef Gunn was able to make a menu. We had teriyaki ground beef. We had garlic herb ground beef. We had fresh white rice. We had cabbage. We had a zucchini and cauliflower vegetable medley, right? We had water for the folks. We had sodas. We had fresh fruit. We had desserts. These folks ate well.
Yeah.
And again, we brought enough food to feed a minimum of 500 this time.
Yeah.
And so,
Wow, that's amazing.
you feel me? We did that. I went to the cosmetology and barber department at my college, and I spoke to them about it again, just having the barber background and understanding. In that space, they do deal a lot with giving back to the community. I pitched it to them, and again, I had that school article from the first event. So I've been sitting out like crazy to everybody behind the scenes, just as an official proof of concept. So I'm not just some random person hitting you up with an idea.
Right.
I approached them about it. The directors loved it. I spoke to the student barbers. Day of, only the director came out. But again, I'm the type of person, no hard feelings, you feel me? I believe in anything we do like this, right? And you can probably attest to this as well, right? With building something like your brand. I think part of the joy in this is you earn people's trust. You earn people's business. You earn viewership. You earn their faith.
Absolutely.
And so that's the way I looked at it. I said, you know what? I'll come back later when I know I've earned y'all faith. And but at least I had a barber out there, and she was turning haircuts all afternoon on her own. Bro, we had a line. Like, as soon as we started, boy, that line.
It started getting
quick.
thick, yeah.
And she didn't turn a single person away. She made sure she serviced every person who came. So I actually ended up not even like the people, the equipment folks came by to pick up the shit. I had to, talk to them. They ended up leaving. That I had to give one chair back to them because but they was cool about it. You feel me? So again, we raised over $3,400. Got my hands on some food through partnership support. And all this really was just being on social media, y'all. When we on social media, let's stop looking at 20v1s. Let's stop popping the balloons. I'll be on social media. I look at brain rot too, but this is also what I'm doing when I'm not looking at brain rot.
Yeah.
I'm just hustling, you feel me?
Yeah.
And then, like I said, with that money, I was able to have infrastructure for my event, right? We had 8 tables set up. We had 30 chairs. I had a hand washing station. I had 4 canopies. I would have had bathrooms, but I ain't gonna lie, I didn't want nobody to go in the bathroom, shoot up an OD, and then had to deal with that.
Yeah, true.
But
true.
You feel me? So through 2 events now, we have been able to service as far as feeding. We've been able to feed off of, with no institutional support, with no backing, just me. Just really, this second event was really just me with the fundraising. Raised close to 5,000. We fed over 700. We provided resources and support to over 350 so far. And I intend to do a summer event, and I definitely intend to do at least 2 events during the holiday season. But then between those events, I'm starting to try and find ways to just do like low cost, you know what I'm saying, where we might not even set up, just pull up me and the homies, or just me sometimes with some food in the back, feed the people in between, so that I'm building a consistent relationship with them.
Beautiful.
While I'm also working behind the scenes, continuing to build these events, intermittent, and
you're learning more, like
Exactly.
you're building better connections. Also, too, I'll say this: you have our support over here completely.
Sir.
So whenever you are organizing, let me know so we can get the information out to the people.
Yes, sir.
Matter of fact, you can just go ahead and plug yourself. Tell people where they can follow you
sir.
and how they can find you.
Yes, sir.
And then in the future, when you do have events, let me know. And we'll get a full spiel right on here.
Yes, sir.
No problem.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
And these people are very community minded.
Yes, sir.
So they would love to help. You know,
Yes,
we're the goal is for next year, for later on this year, for us to do something when the weather get a little, you know what I'm saying, give out some socks, some coats, things like that. Of course, coat drives for kids are very important.
Yes, sir.
But for the people that have to sleep outside, I feel like it's equally as important.
And you know what? It's funny you say that, because even out there, the weather is nicer. But one of the things that we included in our kits this time around was those, them blankets, like that look like aluminum. We included those to make sure that, you know what I'm saying? So now we're always, I say we, be like me and like,
but it's a we.
You feel me? But we, when we talk about, as we, through 2 events now, we continue to circle back and analyze, all right, what are some of the things that we maybe didn't have that they might have brought up a few times, or, you know what I'm saying? So we can just make sure to get, because like you said, it's different everywhere.
Absolutely.
The cold, we don't so much obviously have to focus on that out there through most months of the year. But like I said, the biggest thing is that Narcan, man.
Yeah.
The drug problem out there. But the Narcan is expensive, so I definitely need resource support, volunteer support, partnership support. Quick plug, you can find me on all social media. I keep it simple. My name is Justin Ellis Brooks. That is at JUSTINELLISBROOKS. That is on Instagram. That is on TikTok. Threads, you feel me? Just where I'm operating right
Wherever
now. I have
you
like
at.
the YouTube and other things, but I haven't started consistently putting out content. So once I do, you know what I'm saying. But for now, Instagram, Threads, TikTok at Justin Ellis Brooks.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, you got
Yes,
our
sir.
full support, man. I mean, I think your story is amazing.
Yes, sir.
But I think, and you're in the infancy of this, but you've already had 2 events. I mean, even if you fed 20 people, that's still a success. There's 20 people that need to eat. You fed over 700.
Yes, sir.
You're building an active community. We are part of that community now.
Yes, sir.
And even if you are in LA, you're giving people a real blueprint on how to help. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to start with much.
Yes, sir.
If
Yes, sir.
the first goal being to feed 100, you know, most people would shoot for the stars, but 100 people, that's an impactful thing.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And it costs money, but it's a little bit more feasible raise for people to start with. And like you said, you build a social credit and a value from that and a trust when people know, like, you ain't using this for your own benefit.
Right.
And you put your money where your mouth was, too.
And that's the biggest thing, you know. And I think that helps is people realize, like, even though, like, I'm the one sitting here, like I said, I use the word we a lot, number one, because it's not just me. I'm not just out here for clout. Like you said, I'm actively putting my own money and making other people sacrifice in the process.
Correct.
But, yeah, for sure, like I said, I forgot what we were saying right now.
Oh, just starting simple, just starting small?
Start. That's the thing. Start. And what I want people to realize is I feel like even if you're not a veteran, because that's the biggest thing. For me, it was easier because I was a veteran. But one thing my mom used to always tell me is a distinct difference between the words hard and impossible.
Yeah.
Right. So while it may be a bit harder because you're not a veteran, you might not have none of these benefits. One of the things I've seen with like the second event, is that the partnership support was what really drove a lot of things home for me. And these people were not veterans, right? I didn't get a lot of this food because I was a veteran.
Okay.
I didn't get a lot of these resources the second time around because I was a veteran, just because I was asking for help.
Yeah.
I was reaching out. And like I said, I kind of built some of that social credit and trust from the first event. And so it doesn't take a lot to get started. I implore people to get started. Start with your friends. If you're in college, start with those people on your campus, you feel me? And one of the big things, Deontay, is I'm the type of person like where, let's say, you know, you sitting around with your homeboys and y'all having one of those conversations where there's a lot of like, what about going around? Or what if we had this much? Or what would you do? I'm the type of person where I can't have a conversation like that, knowing the resources exist, they actually exist, walk away, and just be, oh, that was a good conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate people like that.
Well, here,
ahead.
I think this is something that's important because I always try to think about ways to help. So you went from you raised $1,200 the first time.
Yes, sir.
You raised over
$3,400.
$3,400 the second time.
Yes, sir.
I don't think it's impossible to raise $10,000.
I don't either.
I think that with my platform and my support, if we get 10,000, we reach way more than 10,000 people a week.
Exactly.
So we get 10,000 people to give $1.
And that's the things I be trying to push people. Exactly.
And it's not. This is not a hard ask.
It's not.
$1.
And it's not.
You know what I mean?
And that's
it's going. And that's $1 towards somebody's basic needs.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
And then the reverse side is when we talk about economics, the average person. I know the times is hard. The average person ain't gonna miss $1.
They ain't gonna miss no $1.
They're not.
It's a dollar initiative. Like we asked 10,000 people to give $1. You know what I mean? And don't worry about it. What the 999,000 other people are doing, you give your $1. So whenever you have your next event,
yes, sir.
And you put it together, let me know. Give me all the information.
Yes,
as far as like plugs or where people can donate.
Yes, sir.
And that's going to be our initiative. We're going to try to get 10,000 people to give $1.
Yes, sir.
And you know me, I'm gonna put my money up too.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
But yeah, we out of camera time over here.
Sorry.
So, but thank you, bro. Thank you for coming
having
through.
me. Absolutely.
I've been looking forward to this conversation, and I think it's extremely productive. But I also do think that, you know, you're a part of this thing now. Like, you know, me and we've been talking, corresponding for months. But I'm looking forward to whenever you put the next venture together, so that we can help.
Yes, sir.
And I'm, you know, extremely proud of you, bro, because you know you stepping out on faith for real.
Yes, sir.
But you also are applying these things that we learn about,
Yes, sir.
these things we talk about, and it's inspiring me to get out and do the same thing.
Yes,
you
sir.
know what I mean?
Well, like I was saying, you know, again, back to the point, I've watched so many clips from you on TikTok for the last several months, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who might hear this. I'm the type of person where I watch those clips, bro, and then after I scroll away, get off my phone, like that stays with me, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person where I just couldn't continue living and not doing anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you.
Appreciate you, bro.
Brother. Hey,
Appreciate
each
you.
one.
Hey, and I'll be in touch with you because we do have some organizing to do in that third and fourth quarter. And with you already doing, I'll pick your brain about a few things.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Absolutely, brother.
Well, this is a Patreon exclusive, but this will go to the YouTube too.
Absolutely.
I'm Deontay Kyle. Who's behind the camera?
The coolest co-host in the world, Big Ice Cup Cat.
And your name, sir?
Justin Michael Ellis Brooks.
Thank you, brother. Until next time, we'll see you. Thank you again, Justin.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely.